Hey everyone, welcome to Mike's Big Drop. Today's topic is why did I do the surgery? So, as we discussed in the previous video, I had a gastric sleeve surgery back in January of last year. So, on January 10th to be precise. What it is basically they remove a good part of your stomach. So, I don't know, like 70, 75%, three quarters, two-thirds to three-quarters of your stomach. Again, consult professionals. But basically, they reduce the size of your stomach. What it does is that it helps you control your hunger, portion size, um, and just overall, like the amount of food that you ingest. So for me, all of these, like having a large pizza or having like ridiculous portions whenever I want to go out, that's the thing in the past. So bringing back to why I got the surgery. So a number of things I wanted to achieve. First of all, before I started this whole process, I was 417 pounds at my heaviest, which I'm 6'5", 6'6", so almost 2 meters tall. I'm a pretty bulky guy. Black is slimming, so that's why it doesn't show, but I'm a pretty bulky guy. So I'm never gonna be thin. That's not the point. Like the whole point is just to be healthier, not have reduced mobility or reduced capabilities, and hopefully lengthen my lifespan. So that was the main target and the main thing we wanted to achieve. So since I had the surgery, currently I'm anywhere between 295 and I'm gonna say 300. So we're anywhere between like the 120 to 125 pounds lost. My target weight is gonna be roughly around, I think, never really been at a target weight my entire life. But with my build, my size, we're probably aiming like in the anywhere between, I'm gonna say 240, 260. So let's say 250. So it really depends, like muscle mass, fat that you keep, and everything. So that's a very rough target. Progress we've made in numbers. So I went from a shirt size of anywhere between 4 to 5 XLT, depending on brand, to currently I'm anywhere XLT or 2 XLT. T is tall, because I'm really, really tall, as mentioned. Pant size, we started at 56, currently at 40. I doubt we're going to go like much lower, maybe 38, pushing it, but I think that's pretty much going to be it. Different cut of jeans, maybe. And that's the in numbers part. The things that can't really be measured, and honestly, that surprised me, were how easier it is to have control in my life. So to get deep and to get real, basically, for me, what caused my weight problem was basically a way to cope. Some people go with drugs, some people go with alcohol, some people go with there's a million different ways. For me, food was my comfort zone, was how I dealt with everything and how I coped with everything. So, to get real, my process, the physical process, started on when I started the pre-surgery diet in December of 2022. So that's where the physical aspect of things came. The 3 years before that basically were mostly spent through therapy, reading books, talking with friends, talking with family, and forcing myself to open up about issues that I have, things that I'm going through, and just discussing day to day things, because that's the thing I never really did before. And there's a lot of people that gave it their best shot. Not a lot of people were able to get through. But that's where the work really started. And the reason I wanted to talk about this and the reason I wanted to open up about that is a lot of people we'll see like the physical transformation as being like, wow, this is amazing, and it feels fantastic. It's amazing. It's great to be, I don't want to say normal, but just like at a, I'm gonna say like healthier, because I am definitely healthier. um but the things that are even better, that you can't really see unless someone puts it out there, or you have the opportunity to talk with someone that's going through that, is, and again, we're gonna do like the TLDR version of that, but basically, like, before, I had zero self-confidence, zero self-worth. uh, I accepted anything and everything that was, even things that were unpleasant to me or things I didn't want to go through. I was very, very, like, extremely self-conscious, to a point where you're always comparing yourself. You're always setting benchmark and setting like objectives that you're never going to be able to reach, and that you're never even going to try. And that's a vicious circle. And then basically that's the loop that I was in, that I got caught into. uh and it catches up to you eventually, where it's basically, it's not a sustainable thing. So, without going too like in depth as to the whole story, so like the why of the surgery is, a couple of years ago I went through some challenges, and I decided to really make a change, where for me the genesis of everything was just, I'm tired of feeling like shit. Like, I'm tired of feeling like crap all the time. And comes a point where you just, even though you don't believe you might be able to make it, you just decide that you're going to do things differently. And that's the core of the message. That's the core of, for me, like, my biggest learning opportunity. And what I assume is probably, like, a lot of people, what they would need to hear. And it's pretty, it's harsh, because it's a harsh reality. But the thing is it needs to be said. And more importantly, for whoever needs to hear this, is not just to hear the words, but to hear the message, which is this, basically. For me, I tried all of my 30s, actually most of my 20s, all of my 30s, to lose the weight. Losing weight is a very physical thing, where it's a number that goes up and down. The problem is, and this is the lesson I learned, is what's going to keep you going, and what's going to motivate you to do things, is rooted in a very simple belief that you're able to do this. For me, I wanted to believe that I could do it before, but I never truly believed in it. And as a result, I never gave myself an honest chance to be successful. When I had the surgery, probably not the wisest thing I've ever done. Getting a surgery is the wisest thing I've ever done. The reason I went into it probably like could have been better, but for me is like, I wanted that change so badly, and I didn't see any other way, that I just put myself in a situation where I just had to deal with it, and there was no room for excuses, basically. Fairly terrible way to go about it, to be honest. Please don't do that. I can tell you that it's not because I was successful that it's the recommended approach. Absolutely not. What you need to understand, and I'm talking to, like, it's weird, but I'm talking to you, the person who wants to make a change, and not necessarily just the weight. Really, my success is not the numbers that went down, or that keep going down, and the fact that I'm healthier, the fact that I look healthier, that I feel better in my skin. It has very little to do with the weight. It has everything to do with my mindset. Is ultimately, by me putting myself in a situation where I had to deal with the problem, which, like, there was like a million times where you're going to be in a similar situation, either at work, in your relationships and everything, where you're going to have to make the hard decisions and just make the hard steer and just get shit done. That's the mentality you have to put yourself in, where you're basically like, you no longer accept that you feel like shit, that you're okay with the situation you're in. If you are and you're happy, turn off the video. You've got it figured out. It's fine. I mean, that's it. Like, you don't need to hear about weight loss if you're happy and you're honestly happy and you feel you're fulfilled and your life feels rewarding. You've got it to figure out. Actually, you should do the video. Why am I even talking to you? If you're not, though, disregard the weight. The weight is like any other problem. It's just a problem. You know what the solutions are. You know what they need to do. And what we're going to talk about in the next couple of videos is how to take that on, how to tackle that specifically. But it's just, if you know that weight is your problem and it's something that's holding you back, like everything was really like funneled through the weight because it was the most visible problem to me, and it was like the culprit of everything. But as I started losing weight, you notice that weight doesn't mean anything. It's just a representation of how you feel inside and how you feel as a person. And the main reason that things are different now is not because of what I look like, but it's because of how I feel like and the vibe that I put out to other people and the image that comes off of me. And that's what I really want to talk about. We're going to talk about the weight loss. I'm going to actually, the next video, we're going to talk about the day of the surgery, what was my experience, how did it go. But it's just like, the core message is, if you want to make a transition and you want to fix some shit, just look at it like any other problem. Things are, especially weight loss, it's mathematical, literally. You need to have a calorie deficit and you need to get moving. It's that simple. How you're going to go about it and how you approach it, but more importantly, how you're going to sustain it. That's where I'll talk about it. I'll talk about what I do, how am I approaching it, success, failures. Right now, like, I have a fantastic coach called Lyle. We'll talk about it. Might even, I don't know, do a chat with him, and we'll talk about like the whole process and his experience. But right now, like, if you're watching this and you want to take like the one thing away from this, the most important thing to take away from this is just basically, it's not about, for weight loss, it's not about just getting moving and doing things perfect and everything. It's just like, you want things to be different. Get yourself in a state of mind where you're gonna have to do some things differently, and you're gonna have to give a try to something, and you're gonna fail. Not you might fail, you will fail. It doesn't mean shit. Like, failure is a lesson. Failure is just a step along the way, like anything else. There will be a lot more failures than there will be successes. And that's the beautiful part of it, because failures teach you shit. They teach you things. And that's where, when you learn slowly to start to embrace that, and just learn to be okay with it, where failure is not something that will define you. It's not something that will represent who you are or what you are about. Failure is just a step. It's just a thing that happens and that will continue to happen. Because if you avoid failure, you're going to avoid success as well. You can't have both. You can't just have one, actually. You have to have both. Both come together, because your success will be marked by a million failures that came before. It's unavoidable. We're going to talk about that and learn to be okay with that and learn to embrace that, which is the most important lesson of everything I've learned in the past year. If we're going on 15 minutes, that's quite the rant. If you made it through, thanks. Appreciate it. Hope you got something out of it. Next video, we're gonna do this sporadically. We'll see. Hopefully it's starting to look a little better, thanks to some friends and family that gave me a couple tips, so I don't look like I'm in the middle, hidden in a closet, like with just like a little tiny light or something. We're gonna start to try to make things a little better, or at least look and sound better, so it's not as a chore to listen to them. Thanks, guys.